अभी के हालात को देखते हुए देश में ये लॉकडाउन 21 दिन का होगा।
But I'm saying there should have been more preparation from the administration side, especially when we already experienced some similar panic before the Janta Curfew Day, even though it was announced in advance.
But how do you prepare for 1.5 billion population plus another 500 million who are hiding? But right now what I'm getting from China is that Amazon was open.
Yeah.
Amazon was even worse than Flipkart. At least Flipkart was open and saying like, tell you that we are shut for 21 days. Amazon says, oh don't worry, we will deliver you everything. The moment I hit delivery, it says it will be there by 14th of April, which is the apparently last day of curfew. I was like, will you be pouring rice on my dead body? What is the point of this thing? Like, Narendra Modi said at 8 p.m. that go home, stay home. This was the greatest practical joke played on those people who are completely homeless. They're like, where's the fucking home? I can't even imagine the pain people are going through because they don't have food on the table and nobody gives a crap.
Altri bambini da qualche giorno non riescono a mangiare sto pezzo di pane. Stia tranquillo che lei non se ne sta a casa senza rimorso perché facciamo la rivoluzione.
So what they did was aggressive testing instead of aggressive shutdown. So aggressive testing they see works much better than aggressive shutdown.
They have already gone through the SARS epidemic. They already have experience of such a similar epidemic. Those countries, South Korea and Singapore, they were able to mitigate it more efficiently than other countries.
But right now what I'm getting from China is that China is the boss. Like they really don't give a shit. They don't answer questions. Alright, so we're going to start with day 3, observations after day 2. I think that day 3, my first observation was not specifically observing going out because I still went out for a run. Things that had normalized a bit more. But I was starting to get really worried about people, like really poor people. I mean, I really didn't see people dying outside, but I'm just concerned about poor people because a lot of poor people who rely on begging. But if there's no crowd outside, who they're going to beg from? A lot of people rely on vendors who just give them vada pav or a dosa or a chai every other hour, so just keep them alive. Or people passing by who give them food. I want to give one specific example that, that will be striking, but I'm just using it as a metaphor. But this is something this is just one example. Think about one single place, one single Gurdwara in Amritsar, the Harban Sahib, or as popularly known as Golden Temple. That probably ends up serving around 50 to 100,000 people every single day. Okay, if that one single place of worship itself serves 150 to 100,000 people every single day, and every Gurdwara has this tendency to do this langar thing, and they do it across India. I'm sure there's millions of people every single day are fed by Gurdwaras. Those people don't go to Gurdwaras to eat because they like going there. Amber Sahib, Harban Singh Sahib, they do. Golden Temple, they do. But Most of the time they don't. This is their only way of getting that food, that meal. Because by the way, if you notice in Warsaw when you were here, I don't know if I walked you from there, the Gurdwara, people actually not only eat there twice a day, they also sleep outside the footpath. Okay, so and they have a special shed also, because in Bombay it rains a lot and it could be sunny at the time. So they pretty much the entire life depends there. Now they cannot really sleep like what they were sleeping before. They don't have any food to eat. I'm just saying there was no plan. There's no contingency plan for that. My point is, I'm a middle class person and I feel I'm struggling. And guess I can't even imagine what is happening to people, particularly 100 million people who probably have nowhere to live, or wherever they live is it's just really terrible. Those people, when Narendra Modi said at 8 p.m. that go home, stay home, this was the greatest practical joke played on those people who are completely homeless. They're like, where's the fucking home? This is exact, and by the way, they are exactly where they were, because that was their home, the footpath or the roadsides, whatever you want to call them in India. Because when I'm observing, they're sitting exactly where they were sitting, because they have nowhere to go. This is where they live, and nobody has tried to do anything. And by the way, police doesn't bother them, because they're like, they're going to tell police, yeah, okay, send us home, give us home, we'll stay there.
Yeah, I mean, that is completely true, and I think this is what we talked about. This was the first thing we talked about on the day zero, when it was announced that how practical is it for people who just be normal people, daily laborers and all that. And I think we are seeing that in Delhi, people are walking hundred of kilometers to reach their native place, and they have not.
People are walking 1,500 kilometers to Bihar.
And this is going, and this has become a big problem on day 4. I think we may talk about it briefly now, because now it has become a very huge problem, because a lot of people are crowding at the borders, and I'll put pictures of that. Forget about social distancing. There's a lot of crowd assembled at one place, because they want to move out of Delhi and want to go to their native places in UP and Bihar and other nearby places. So it is, I mean, I think everyone knew that it's not practical that everyone can stay at home, because a lot of people don't have home. And I think on day 2, a relief package was also announced for people who are below poverty lines, so that they'll get benefits. They'll get money directly into their accounts. But a lot of people, I mean, the number of people who have bank accounts are very less. And in fact, I just want to briefly touch upon it, that when all this was happening a few years back about Aadhaar, and and government was mandating that everyone should have a bank account, even the poor people should have bank account, and all the money which they get from working as laborers, that should directly go to their bank accounts. And there was a lot of hue and cry, oh, what about privacy, and you're forcing people, this is not practical and all that. And this is precisely why it was necessary to open those accounts. Now government can directly pay that money to them. Otherwise, previously what used to happen, that money used to get allotted, but that money used to go to middlemen, and that money never used to reach the people it was designated, it was supposed to. But the point which you are making, this is very very much true everywhere, that there are a lot of people who don't have access to anything. They don't even have access to clean drinking water. And now with everything shut down, they are I mean, they have nowhere to go. I saw a lot of pictures of Mumbai as well, where people, I mean, you don't even have to go. I mean, whoever lives in India, whoever has been to in India, they don't even have to see these pictures. You can just go out. Whenever you go out, you see tons and tons of people just sleeping on the roads. So yeah, I mean, I think this is something which the administration, the government would have also known, that this they can't fix, and they can't delay the announcement of lockdown because of this. They I think they already knew that a lot of people will die because of the lockdown, and I think people are dying as well across the country because of non-availability of resources.
I'll tell you one example that, what happens is like right now, two things. One is, unless you're dying from COVID, it doesn't matter. Okay. People have forgotten about 1 billion at least animals who died, and we are only counting kangaroos and koalas which were dying in Australia. Nobody's talking about that anymore. When that riots happened in outside Delhi, far off in East Delhi, when Muslim houses were burned down, people are completely forgotten about all that, right? Now people are not talking about anybody who's dying left, right, center from all the main diseases like cardiovascular disease, respiratory diseases, hypertension, diabetes and cancer, right? Or road accidents. Nobody's talking about that, like nothing else matters. Only stat is pushed on you is this. If you actually run worldometer on all the other stats, also the 5 diseases I talked about in the road accidents, they will be much higher than any of this COVID statistics that we have for India. I'm not talking about Italy and world, I'm just talking about India specific. Now, people will continue to die because of these restrictions, because not only 100 million people have no food and they're begging and other things, there are another 500 million people who are literally relying on, or their parents, if they're kids, they're relying on their daily wage workers, or people who cannot really take care of themselves after, maybe 3 days, maybe 4 days. Because I just spoke with a person who is also my friend who works with Robin Hood Army, which pretty much serves people food. That's their primary deal. And because they're not able to serve food these days, they've been getting calls from other people, particularly from the richer people who are richer volunteers. They're like, we don't want to go out, but we are happy to give you money. Can you give food to people? Because they are seeing people who have not eaten, families not eaten for 4 days. Okay. And it's just, there's nobody coming to help them. So my friend also, who was volunteer, later on, actually, I didn't speak with him later on, but I think either he's going or he's already done that or he's got somebody else to do it. But they are going out and feeding people, which is a complete break of curfew. But at the end of the day, when he's going to feed people, nobody's going to stop him because he's just trying to make people stay alive. That is much more important than actually them dying from a disease which they may or may never get at all in the first place, right? The major problem right now is not getting any food. You and I are very lucky in that way, like particularly you, and I don't want to I'm not putting you down here, but I'm saying technically, indirectly you have lost income, and we don't want to talk about that, either this property or investments in other places, but directly, day to day, like putting food on the table and all, you've not been hurt. Your company is exactly paying the same money as they were paying before. Your expenses have not gone down or gone up technically. You still can pretty much provide for your family. There is no problem. But if you and I are daily wages laborers or people who get money every day, every other day or every week, and there are hundreds of millions of those in India, nobody's going to come and support us, because when you're poor, there's no system in place to support you. Every system is in place to support the rich people. And middle class don't do anything. And I said something to Baba earlier in the day that I never say, and he was surprised. I said, at least rich people must be terrible. And I always said rich people are terrible. At least they generate jobs. Maybe not for altruistic reasons, but they do. Middle class people only complain and never contribute anything to anything. They keep saying, we don't have enough. They always want to be rich people. They never contribute, trying to avoid taxes, trying to not help anybody, no donation, nothing anywhere. And then rich people, apart from that particular incident with Dhoni, which he apparently donated 1 lakh rupees. I don't know what the hell that was about. Because there's some guy in Gujarat, some kid, I don't know, in Gujarat or someplace in India, he's in class 12, he donated 2.5 lakh rupees.
Yeah. I think, don't want to go off topic, but I think a lot of things are not reported as well. Like a lot of people who donate, they don't like to report. So this could be one of those instances.
That is understandable, but they're richer people. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. At some level, rich people do end up contributing at some level, and once they get older, they do contribute. My point was that there is no mechanism in place. Again, I was going a lot of off topic there, but my point coming back to it was there's no mechanism in place. When people have no food to put on the table, they can't really be worried about freaking COVID when the entire country of 2 billion people, 20 people have died. Okay, they're going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I need to go out and move that garbage. By the way, garbage truck people, like nobody cares about garbage truck people. Nobody cares about cleaners. Nobody cares about who cleans your toilet. They're still going out.
Yeah.
They are the only people who are going out meeting every funk. They're dealing with garbage where the virus could be, they're dealing with everybody's garbage. That's where the virus would be, right? But they're not wearing suits. Nobody gave them expensive suits.
Yeah.
They should be wearing those expensive, all the doctors are wearing in Italy, right? They should be, right?
Yeah.
But they're not. Their lives do not matter. And you know why? If you read online, the workers, the sewer workers or the garbage workers, they're saying now people look at us like we are the disease. Dude, we are the only fucking people who are working and cleaning your shit and your garbage. So if anything, no, we don't want reverence, but at least show some respect, for heaven's sake, for at least these days.
Yeah, I mean, if they just stop for 2-3 days, you will understand their value.
Yeah, I mean, you and I, we had to imagine, Bikram, just always the best way of doing something is always imagine you had to do that work and for the money that they get. Would you do it? I don't think I can do it for 3 days.
Yeah.
I'll just fucking kill myself. I'll like, fuck this thing, man. I'm not gonna fucking clean up people's garbage and shit.
Yeah.
We just feel like we deserve it. Why do we deserve it? Just because we happen to be born in a family which can feed us, which sent us to big schools, nice colleges, and we got a nice job, so we deserve it? I don't think we deserve it at all. And they definitely don't deserve whatever they're getting, like being born poor, right? And they didn't call for it. It was just, if you had a family which was religious, let's just say Muslim religious family, who just happens to have 6 kids because they don't believe in contraception. By the way, this is not against Muslim people, it's against religion altogether. Because they don't believe in contraception, it is not your fault that you're one of those 6 people and your father could not provide for you because he was too religious. Because only thing that's important to him is like go and pray, but instead of feeding these people, because you cannot literally feed 6 people if you're poor. But you'll not use logic on that. So, but poor people themselves are to blame for a lot of it. But as a kid, how do you blame the kid for being born in a family, for being poor in the first place? And that's why we have hundreds and hundreds of millions of people who have nothing to put on the table. So this 21-day curfew or band or whatever you want to call it, it's going to have a lot of casualties and running into not thousands but millions, and not just right now but over a period of time. I'll give you one small example without elongating it, and this example is just one example. Imagine a poor person who is pregnant. She probably still works anyway because she has a couple of people to feed. She cannot go out. Her husband is not able to go out. They have a poor old father and mother who need medicine, who need food. There's 6 people now suddenly unemployed. Okay, they're staying in and they have no bank account. Even if they had, like, luckily, as you were saying, like people are berating, but they had a bank account. The money can still come in, right? That's one good thing. We don't know money will come in or not, but at least they have a bank account. But the fact is they have no running income anymore, and they were relying on going out every day, doing the labor work and getting that money in. But now they don't have that money, and suddenly they're like, And this case scenario is not just, it's an isolated incident. This is pretty much for tons of people, because as I said earlier, it's not against Muslim, but the fact is that poorer people, they have many more kids than richer people. Because richer people are smarter not to have as many kids, poor people are dumb enough to have more kids for completely misguided reasons, and then they have to feed these people. And now when you take away their livelihood, like in Delhi, there's millions of people now driving from the last 5-6 years of the electric rickshaws or e-rickshaws that they call them. Suddenly, who are you going to get passengers? You're going to get nothing, right? That was their livelihood. Now you have no money. And who's going to help them? Who is going to help them? Maybe for one day somebody, but this is relying on the alms from people, like somebody is like, okay, I'll give you some food. This is relying every single day of their lives to just get something. And the same thing is happening with animals, same thing is happening with birds. It's just a freak environment, and I'm suffering. Like, I mean, I don't want to really compare myself suffering with those people, but I'm saying if I feel the pain, I can't even imagine the pain people are going through because they don't have food on the table and nobody gives a crap.
That
was my rant about that.
I think it was a
I was very upset. I'm just
I mean, I don't want to again add to it anymore because you have already said so much about it. But definitely this happens all the time whenever there is something. I mean, even during demonetization, and I can't think of any other instance. But mostly these things are never reported, or these things. And even if they are reported, I mean, when we are talking about those people who are traveling on foot to their native places, there were a lot of reports coming in where reporters are reporting it, but they are just reporting it. If they want, they can help, right? They can give them food, they can give them something, but but eventually it just makes a good story. So they are just it's like I don't really know whether you have seen that movie People Live. This
I haven't, but I know about it. I know about it. It's a satire, right?
yeah, so it's a People Life situation where this guy has announced that in the movie there's a guy who during the farmer distress issue, the government announces that whoever commits suicide, their family will get X amount of money, and this guy is forcefully made to announce that he is going to commit suicide due to due to the farmer distress, and then the media gets a whiff about it, and they just all the media people just surround him, and the movie is about his day-to-day life, how the media is covering everything. So it's the same situation right now, where these media people are actually trying to find such similar stories, and trying to play on them, and create TRP, high TRP high TRP headlines, which can attract more and more people. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to elongate again and again, but yeah, this is how it
fair enough.
happens.
So I'll be ending the part 3 with just adding on to what you said. It's like same way when media is reporting, when people are self-emulating. I mean, if somebody's putting themselves on fire and you're reporting that,
Yeah.
and you're actually live taking the videos, and these videos are there, right? In 90s, when a couple of guys did it, and they just videotaped this media.
Yeah.
You're supposed to stop that person from doing it. But the fact, if you stop it, you have no news. But if you let him burn himself and you record it, you have amazing news.
Yeah.
So that's called collateral damage. And I'm going to talk about collateral damage. Nobody's ever going to talk about collateral damage of this month of 21 days, which is going to wreak havoc on the economy. That can be fixed. But people, when they lose their lives, people lose their babies, people lose their families, people lose their elders because they didn't have food or medicine. Who is reporting the collateral damage? Where's the website for collateral damage? Is just whatever shit that is going around. And then I want to compare that damage that is happening because of the actual reason, which is coronavirus. 20 deaths, that will be 20,000 deaths at least. Okay, so that is my take. We're gonna in part 4 we're gonna talk about conspiracies primarily, and we're gonna talk about how US the numbers just went through the roof. So alright, so as we said, please subscribe and continue watching if you feel like it. And we'll be doing part 4, which is the last part of this podcast, and on coronavirus. I think next week we'll probably continue with coronavirus. Maybe we'll do something else.
Yeah, maybe we'll do something else, because
for,
I think now there's overload of coronavirus related stuff.
Yeah, we really don't know, Bikram, because I don't know what will happen in a week, right? So we might just probably be in a hospital or something.
We can do it from there.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do it from there. Then we have to do corona. We can't just be like, oh, we have corona now. Both of us have corona, and we'll be drinking corona as well. So we'll probably might as well at least end on a high note. All right, take care and continue watching part 4 and subscribe.
Yeah.
Boom.